science can produce many results, but the question is interpreting those results, what they amount to. Scientists like nice, precise questions to which they can devise an experiment which, if it gives one result, will show one theory to be right, and if it gives a different result, will give a different theory to be right. But there is the issue of just what the information we've long held amounts to. And the information we've long held are, to my mind, that we have thoughts and feelings as well as events happening in our brains, and we have, each of us continues to exist over time, and therefore the issue is, well, what constitutes me existing over time as opposed to somebody like me waking up tomorrow? What constitutes me waking up tomorrow? Are brain events separate things from thoughts and feelings, or are thoughts and feelings really brain events? And we've got all the data for that. The question is how you interpret them. What's the right way of sorting them out? And that's what philosophers have been concerned with. I say all the data, that's not altogether true. There are certain recent developments of science which are crucially relevant, and the moment such a development turns up, as it does in various areas of philosophy, well, of course, we must take account of it, and it's been very much the hallmark of philosophy as done in the Anglo-American world in recent years, that it's been very sensitive to the latest developments of science. On this point, there's been a lot of neuroscience, which is relevant, not quite as relevant as neuroscientists think sometimes, but is relevant. For example, something I think is very relevant is not merely the discovery that our consciousness depends on our cerebral hemispheres, that is the top part of our brain, and there are two of these, a left and a right one, but the very interesting discovery that if you take out one of these hemispheres, and sometimes people who have severe epilepsy do have a whole hemisphere removed, that doesn't make any great significant difference to what they remember, how they behave, and so on. It makes a bit of difference to their motor powers, but not to the way they think and so on. And it doesn't matter whether you take the left one out or the right one out. And that's a very interesting discovery, because if you connect this with another, not so much discovery, but technique that is being developed of repairing severed nerves, it raises the possibility of removing a hemisphere from one brain and transplanting it into another brain. And then, since each hemisphere, as it were, has the correlates of the same memories and character, which one would be me if this had happened to me? Philosophers have, before all this was discovered, philosophers have sort of thought about the possibility of brain transplants and so on, and some people have said, oh, well, that's just a thought experiment, you don't want to take that too seriously. I think you do need to take thought experiments seriously, but at any rate, this is now passing it into real life stuff, and that is something that philosophers ought to take serious account of.